Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. This one's about Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane when street thinking turns business into a federal case. Pooh Shiesty brought the streets into the business, but did Gucci open the door for the street to come into the business when he signed Pooh Shiesty and didn't let him know that he was no longer in the street, that he was a CEO now? Or did Gucci Mane just allow Pooh Shiesty to believe that he was still in the street even though he was running a business and was now his boss? That's what we're going to speak about. We're going to break this down. Let's get this started. All right? All right, so this is where we at, man. We're going to talk about Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane. We're going to talk about when street thinking turned business into a federal case. But before we go any further, I want to play a news clip to get you caught up on what we're dealing with for all of y'all that may have forgot or don't know. All right.
9 suspects involved in the robbery and kidnapping of rapper Gucci Mane have been arrested. Officials say the alleged ringleader behind the attack was rapper Pooh Shiesty. Our Preseda Olguin has been on top of this story and has the latest.
Aside from learning that the 9th and final suspect has been arrested, we've been able to obtain video which shows the FBI at Pooh Shiesty's home the day he was arrested. Take a look at that video. This happened in Memphis. Federal authorities say Shiesty was the ringleader behind the attack on Gucci Mane here in Dallas. That incident happened back in January at a music studio located off Dallas Parkway. The DOJ says Gucci Mane and 2 others were allegedly kidnapped and robbed at gunpoint. They say 9 people were involved, including Pooh Shiesty's father and Big 30. For background, Pooh Shiesty signed on to Gucci Mane's record label back in 2020. And according to the DOJ, Pooh Shiesty is the one who set up the meeting to discuss his recording contract.
As alleged, Williams Jr. produced an AK-style pistol and forced one of the victims to sign a release from the recording contract at gunpoint. The remaining conspirators displayed firearms and robbed the other victims of Rolex watches, jewelry, cash, and other high-value items.
Pooh Shiesty was released from federal prison in October and was placed on home confinement for a previous conviction, meaning that it's likely he was wearing an ankle monitor at the time of the crime. Officials say all 9 suspects will be transported here to North Texas, where they will face their crimes. Now, if convicted, each suspect can face life in prison. For now, reporting in Dallas, Preseda Olguin, CBS.
All right, so that's where we at so that you fully understand. Pooh Shiesty house done got raided, everything done broke loose, and all this stemmed from street thinking turning business into a federal case, right? Now, we all know who Pooh Shiesty is, right? Now, this ain't just rap beef. Let me tell you something. This situation is deeper than rap. This is deeper than Gucci Mane. This is deeper than Pooh Shiesty. This is what happens when street thinking enters a business room. Contract problem turns into a federal case. A money dispute turns into a life sentence conversation. So the jewel for this is the streets don't negotiate. The streets escalate and take it to the next level. Now, the next level when dealing with business when something is not right is business got rules. In business, you got lawyers, you got contracts, you got paperwork, you got court dates, you got exit clause. But in the streets, you got pride. And that's what Pooh Shiesty was moving on, his pride. When pride replaces paperwork, prison enters the room. Because now it's not far behind. The street thinking is dangerous. A street mind don't say, let me call my attorney. A street mind says he played me. A street mind says he violated me. A street mind says he tried me. A street mind says, I gotta make him feel me. I gotta apply the pressure. And that's where the destruction starts. The street brain don't solve problems. It creates changes. Pooh was thinking from the filthy side. Now, y'all wanna know what the filthy side is? Let's take a ride. All right. Now listen, I'm not saying Pooh is guilty. I'm breaking down the mindset, that grimy mindset, that dirty mindset, that filthy street level mindset, the mindset that says respect matters more than freedom. Did you hear that? Respect matters more than freedom. How many of y'all out there believe that? Put it in the comments and let me know. Any mindset that puts respect over freedom is a prison mindset. Do you agree or disagree? When a name feels played, right? When a man feels played, right? When a street dude feels played, he don't feel cheated. He feels disrespected. He don't think business. He thinks get back. He don't think lawsuit. He thinks pressure. Applying pressure, throwing the Draco in his face and making him sign the contract. Because that's the only way I know how to get it. That's the way I've been getting it, is with this Draco. So what did you expect me to do? Call your lawyer. That's why you pay him. Not after you get in a situation you decide to call him. If you would have called him before, you would have saved a lot of money and time. The jewel for this is, that's how a contract dispute turns into an indictment. That's the jewel. That's how a contract dispute turns into an indictment. The moment the gun enters, once a gun enters the room, business is over. The contract is over. The argument is over. The money issues is over. Now the feds got a story. Now the prosecutors got a movie to put on. What's the jewel in this? A gun may win the moment, but it can lose your whole life. That Draco don't fix paperwork. That Draco don't fix contracts. That Draco don't renegotiate no deal. That Draco don't call no lawyer. That Draco don't clear your name. That Draco don't clear your name because that Draco becomes evidence. That Draco becomes years and decades in prison. And the jewel to that is, the same weapon you think gives you power can become the paper that buries you. Remember that. But now don't forget now, because we ride. Gucci sold the image. Remember, Gucci sold an image now. Now, here's the controversial part, right? Gucci Man sold an image, right? Of a trap god, a street legend, bout it, Trigger. Gucci, the greatest that ever do it. So many people grew up following Gucci and living in the life of destruction because Gucci said he was bout it. That he was certified from the culture. The jewel to that is, when you sell wolf energy, don't be shocked when the wolves come around. You sell wolf energy, don't become surprised when the shiesty wolves come around. The image attracts the street, right? That street image sells records. That street image signs contracts. That street image builds labels. That street image brings attention. But that street image attracts real street minds, real street mindsets. And real street minds don't always play industry games. Yo, you heard that? Real street minds don't always play industry games. Let me tell you a story, right? We're gonna ride. That's like when I met Ralph McDaniel, right? Back in the early 90s. When I met Ralph McDaniel, I told him straight up, yo, I'm not an industry dude. You know what I mean? He kept saying, yeah, I know. I said, no. Listen to me. I'm not an industry dude. And I'm emphasizing the words in his face. But that was my way of letting him know, if you cross me, I'm gonna bring it to you. So I let my intentions be known at the beginning of all relationships so that they know where I'm coming from. So when I attack, they don't say he's tripping, he's bugging. I thought he was my friend. The jewel is, you can't market danger, then act shocked when the danger walks in. You can't market danger and then act shocked when the danger walks in. But that don't excuse nothing. Now, let me be clear. That don't make violence right. That don't make threats right. And that don't make intimidation right. That don't make crashing out smart. It just exposes the contradiction. And the jewel in that is, the industry profits from the street energy until street energy becomes a police report. Everybody's tough until it's real. Just like I got a saying, right? Because I like to ride. It's like a saying I got. Everybody is down until it's time for war. Everyone is down until it's time for war. Everybody loves street code from a distance. Everybody says, I don't call the police. Didn't you hear Gucci say that laying up in his pool with Keisha? Tell him, get the hell off that damn live boy. You know what the hell you saying? He didn't listen then, and it came back to bite him because now the clip is viral. And it don't equate to him calling the police on Pooh Shiesty after Pooh Shiesty made a move for what he felt was a disrespect towards him based on how he was treated in his contract and how he lost his cousin while he was incarcerated by Gucci Mane. Everybody says, I handle mine. Everybody says, I'm solid. Until the gun's in their face. Then they call it 911. Then the language changes, right? The jewel for that is, most people only love street code when they're not the victim. Now, most people only love street code when they're not the victim. Just like everybody loves a rat bastard, flip-flop wearing trolls until he bites them. As long as he's flip-flopping and trolleying around and dogging other people's lives, that's their man. But when it's time for them to ruin their lives, now he's a rat bastard. You see how this game played? But what do you expect a rat to do but what a rat do? Because a rat is nothing more than what he is. Now it's federal language. Let's talk federal language. Now, it ain't I'm solid no more. Now it's, I feared for my life. They was talking about locking me up for decades. Now it ain't handle it in the streets. Now it's I'm gonna call the feds because my chain was worth $500,000 and the contract is worth at least $100 million. So now I could call the feds. Do you agree with that mentality? Put it in the comments. Now it ain't no paperwork. Now everybody's talking legal. But just yesterday, everybody was gangsters in the street and goop-wop. But the street code sounds strong until real danger comes knocking on the door. Sounds real cool to say, yeah, I'm cut like that. I'm one of them. Until it comes knocking on the door and it's time for you to pay up. This is the hypocrisy. The streets sell toughness. The industry sells toughness. The fans reward toughness. The blogs promotes toughness. But when toughness get real, everybody turns corporate and federal. Indictments. Everyone becomes a victim. But you were just selling the ultimate wolf ticket and now you're a victim. The same image that makes money can create the danger that destroys lives. That's the jewel in that. The feds don't care about feelings. The feds don't care who felt played. The feds don't care who felt violated. And the feds definitely don't care who felt disrespected. The feds don't even care who started talking crazy first. The feds care about evidence. The feds care about charges. The feds care about indictments. The feds care about locking your ass up. So if you're not gonna listen to Unique Mecca Audio, go get my cell. When you get to the feds, tell them you want cell 202 or 228. Those are the two cells facing the TV, and you can lay back in your bunk and watch TV for the next 3 decades like I did. Go ahead. Go get it. Now, the jewel in that is, you can explain it on the block, but can you explain it to the 12 jurors? When those 12 jurors, right, when those 12 jurors come in and you got to explain it to them, can you sell them a story to save your life better than seasoned prosecutors that went to college to learn how to take the human mind and words and manipulate it in a way that need to manipulate to get an indictment to move up their political career? That don't matter whose life they ruin or not, as long as they move up. The same way a rat bastard turns around and sets you up and get you down is the same way a prosecutor puts together a case. Because he's working with rat bastards and scumbags that he knows is going to make up stories, so he grab all the crazy stories and make a better story that he went to college to be seasoned to learn how to write. And then he promotes and markets it to the jury by sending it to the media and getting you all hyped up and talking about it on YouTube. But like I said, you can explain it on the block, but you can't explain it to them 12 jurors when you go up against them peoples. So that's why Unique Mecca Audio say, don't get involved, man. It's not worth it. Conspiracy is a big net. The feds look at who called, who drove, who showed up, who held what, who blocked what, who planned what. The feds look at all of that. And the jewel to that is, in the streets, everybody came together, but in the court, everyone stands alone. Can't say no more clear than that, so I'm gonna repeat that. In the streets, everyone came together. Free Pooh Shiesty, Big 30, the whole crew, free everybody. But in the courtroom, they each stand alone. No entourage, no fans, no managers, no none of that. The street code is broken. The street code says, don't let nobody play you, but it don't teach patience. In a way it do, because I'm gonna have to ride on that. The street codes teach you patience in a way that when you want to get at somebody so bad because you feel they violated, you follow them every night, staying 2 car lengths behind, staying out the way, knowing when to pull back, let him turn the corner first, get a little bit speed to the corner, bust the right, see where he at, slow down, let him go around the corner and keep the same routine. And when you get to the destination, you may have to wait in the bushes from he go in the house at 11 o'clock at night until 7 in the morning when he got to get up and take his kids to school. So you waited out there 8 hours like a job in the bushes, in the rain, in the snow, in the sleet, because you had to catch him. Patience. That's how the streets teach patience. That's the patience you want to learn? That's not the patience we want to give you over here, Unique Mecca Audio. But there's people with those patience. So when they come knocking, don't say nothing. The street code says protect your name, but it don't protect your future. The street code says apply pressure, which is what Pooh did with Gucci to get out the contract, allegedly. But it don't teach discipline. Discipline would have mean bringing it to the round table of his team and putting it together and decide where somebody had to have the bright idea to say, let's just call a lawyer and see where to go before we pull out the Draco. Where was that person? Who do you think that person should have been? Put it in the comments. Now, a code that gets you indicted is not a code worth dying for. A code that gets you indicted is not a code worth dying for. The real power is control. Real power ain't pulling up. Real power ain't threatening nobody. Real power ain't pointing weapons. Real power is walking away. Real power is calling a lawyer. Real power is staying free. The jewel in that is the coldest man in the room is the one who controls himself. Message to the youth, right? Let me get the youth a little message here. Oh yeah, this beat by Ron G. Let me know if y'all like the little beat playing in the background. My man Ron G did it. I'm gonna put all the information on the next joint. I was just vibing so good off it, I forgot it was even playing in the background, or to even plug my man Ron G. And make sure you cop my book, A Roar in Harlem, at aroarinharlem.com. All right, don't say you wasn't warned. Okay, now, youngin', listen to me. Your pride is not worth your freedom. Your image is not worth your life. Your reputation is not worth your mother crying over your body or your incarcerated body. Your name is not worth a federal indictment, so stay out of those federal indictments. Your anger is not worth dying in prison. The streets will clap for your crash out, then forget you when the gates close. You see how they starting to forget about Lil Durk already, Pooh Shiesty? They looking for the next new victim that messed up their life, and that's what they do on social media. The industry moves on. The label keeps moving, the blogs keep posting, the fans keep debating. The music keeps streaming, the streets keep talking. But the inmate stays locked in. The jewel in this, right? Everybody eats off the story except the man doing the time. Because they even signed what they call the Son of Sam law, where you can't make no money off your story. Let me give you a final punch. All right, because we riding. And where we at?
Mecca Audio.
All right, we got that. All right, now. Pooh Shiesty is fighting for his life. Gucci Mane is moving like a businessman. The streets are arguing about code. The feds are building a case. The internet is laughing. But prison is waiting. The jewel in all that is, the streets are real, but the federal prison is realer. The closing word. Don't let business activate your street brain. Don't let disrespect control your future. Don't let pride put you in chains. Don't let the image make you crash out. Don't let the streets trick you into a life sentence. Because freedom is the only flex that matters. You don't prove you're really real by crashing out. You prove you're real by making it home. That's the object. I tell it to my son all the time. Make sure you understand that you have one obligation every time you walk out your door. And that's to make it home safe at the end of the night, or the end of the day, or however long it take you. You don't prove you're realer by crashing out. You prove you're realer by making it home at night. And I've been on here long enough. All right?
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.
Fresh out the can of 26, he back on the strip, getting back in the mix. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Real. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. The Instagram page and the YouTube, you could go and visit. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, Mecca audio. Get it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Drop top beamer so shiny. I let shorty go, she was whining. Treat her like my past, she behind me. Spend a couple bands on the Dapper Dan. You be back again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a roaring uptown. They be whoring uptown, Dominican bust downs. Now we on the positive, we got a lot to give. Now he trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend an ear. He started in uptown, he gon' finish dead. But now it ain't about selling drugs, buying cars. It's about buying property to make the community ours, so we can give back to the
cheers, cheers,